And welcome to a brand new edition of Match Points here on tennismajors.com, where we come to debate and discuss the biggest topics in all of tennis. And today is our post-US Open edition, so it should get good and early and often. Let's say hello once again to our panel, the usual suspects, tennis author and journalist Carole Bouchard. There she is, the 2013 Wimbledon champion, and now member of the media as well, Marion Bartoli. And he, of course, tennis writer, contributor, President Writers Association. You already know, Simon Cambers. All right, folks, let's get right at it. We are post-US Open edition, and let's begin on the women's side, where we had a remarkable final involving two of the most unlikely of the unusual suspects. How exactly do you explain Emma Radacanu, someone's going to have to help me with this again. Simon, you're going to have to help me pronounce Emma's last, because it's been all the last 2 weeks, it's been difficult for me. Radacanu. Emma, you know Emma, she's our women's champion. How do you explain her remarkable run to the US Open Championship? And Simon, since you're better with pronunciation, why don't you go first? How do you explain it?
Well, I mean, obviously Britain is a hotbed of talent that has been yielding Grand Slam champion after Grand Slam champion for many years. So it's just a natural progression, really. No, I mean, the thing is, it was out of this world, wasn't it? It was amazing enough that she was in qualifying, that she got through the draw to get into the main draw. I was talking to the head of British men's tennis today, and he was saying that getting 3 players from qualifying into the main draw was a pretty good effort. But then to see the way she just carried on going, didn't drop a set all the way through the tournament, I think, you know, she got a little bit fortunate, perhaps in the sense that Leylah Fernandez took out half of the rest of the draw, the really big guns, and maybe made her life a bit easier. But she did not put a foot wrong. She's a fantastic athlete, seems to have an amazing head on her shoulders, goes for it, doesn't let the opponent dictate, handled the pressure of the situation, you know, first against Bencic, then against Sakkari, and then against Fernandez in the final, so incredibly well. It's a freak moment in British tennis, but one that we hope, being British, will lead to many more successes for her. And I think you know, she is so well placed to deliver on that. Obviously, I'm not going to get ahead of myself and start predicting loads of Grand Slams. We don't know. She's not even been on tour for more than 3 months yet, but she has everything she needs to be a success. And I just think it was such a fantastically sort of joyous moment for women's tennis. And I think the WTA must have been laughing themselves silly in their rooms, in their offices, to have 2 young players like Radacanu and Fernandez together in the final. Fantastic moment for tennis all round. For
those that missed, Simon's comments in the beginning were sarcasm. For those that went past on British women's tennis. Radacanu's remarkable run, historic in a lot of ways. Carole, how do you explain what she did just this past weekend?
And I mean, I still have to pinch myself to believe what she's done coming from the qualies. As Simon said, I think Fernandez taking out maybe half of the top contenders was a factor. But I mean, mentally, she seemed in the zone the whole time, zero doubt. Of course, 18, nothing to lose. But I mean, I was thinking about Marat Safin winning here the US Open in 2000. The way he beat Pete Sampras in the final, it was flawless, but he did that one match and she did that for 10. So I don't think we can explain. Maybe in 10 years, if she has won 20 Grand Slam titles without, okay, it was the birth of a champion, but now it's too soon to say. Was it like, I don't know, this kind of zoning in a moment, or she's swinging freely and nothing can disturb her? But she was so in control of what she was doing, of her emotions. It doesn't look like a fluke. So honestly, I don't think we can explain it, because even Fernandez, let's not forget Leylah Fernandez, what she's done is unbelievable. We haven't seen that. Even when Naomi Osaka won her first Grand Slam title, we didn't have this impression of somebody coming from nowhere. I mean, the kid hasn't won anything on the WTA tour yet. So, I mean, I would have loved to know how the team was working around her, because to keep her grounded, she has no experience at all at this level.
I was reading one article that was done on the ALTA and obviously Lawn Tennis Association, and they were explaining how much Andy Murray has mentored the whole youth and the young generation on the men's and the women's. So he was doing some work with Jake Draper, with Emma and the rest of the girls as well. And I think she just probably thought that she had everything she needs to become maybe not a Grand Slam champion that soon, but to compete against those girls. And I think the belief she shown on the court was very much someone that feels she belongs there. And that's often what is lacking a lot, I feel, on the French women's tennis, for example, is when you arrive on the tour and you're coming fresh from the juniors, you feel like you're lacking still quite a lot before you can go and contend against the top players on the WTA. And I felt these girls straight away out of, even in Wimbledon, when she played on court number one, I felt like she belonged there. You know, even though she has zero experience at that level, I didn't see anything into her game that's sort of starting to collapse. And that to me showed, first of all, of course, a lot of confidence, but as well a lot of preparation, and especially mental preparation, just to imagine yourself there one day. And that's probably the long road work that the LTA has been doing over the years, just to give those players the platform and the voice of someone who have obviously done it more and more times, like Andy, just to tell them, well, this is what you will feel, this is what you will need, this is the tools I'm giving you. And I think this is an extraordinary job and idea from the LTA to bring that on the table to those players, because at some point it's not anymore about the forehand, the backhand and the serve, it's about the belief and the mental aspect as well. And in that department, she was an A+. I mean, I never thought for one moment she would collapse into her matches. And that is extraordinary to witness for someone, as you said, who has absolutely zero experience at any level. I mean, yet alone a Grand Slam, but at anything. She never played a WTA 1000, for example, WTA 500. She just went out and felt like she owned that stage. And that, to me, take it aside, you know, the way she plays or the way she moves or whatever, I think she won that US Open because of that. And it was really extraordinary to see.
Question number 2, along the same lines. Which now is more likely? Which is more likely? That she now goes on a Naomi Osaka post-2018 US Open type of run? Or that this was actually more of a fluke and fortunate timing on the other side of the bracket, perhaps? Which is more likely to be accurate? And why don't we begin with you, Carole Bouchard?
It's going to depend on so many factors, like the expectations are going to be so big right now. The coverage, media coverage back in the UK is going to be madness, but also Asia, Canada, everywhere, because the whole world can maybe claim that title right now. So I think it depends on how mentally she's going to cope with it, with the pressure, with the expectations. You can never predict. I remember talking about that with the one coach saying, because they say, okay, it doesn't matter if the player right after winning big is telling you, I want to win more, I want to do more. You see that on the practice court 2 months later, 3 months later. They all say they want to win everything, but then you have to find the motivation, and it's tough to predict. But she looks extremely grounded. She looks like she knows why she's here. She looks ambitious. So I don't see why she would collapse. The game is extremely solid. Technically, it's really good. There's no real reason why she would lose it suddenly. But then it's so big what's coming on her shoulders, and we saw it in the past. Sometimes it's becoming too big and the players can't cope. But I mean, for now, she's showing no sign of feeling at a place she doesn't deserve to be. I mean, she was at the Met Gala, walking the red carpet as if she had done that all her life. She seemed completely at ease with not the fame, but with the interview process, with greeting the people, with just being under the spotlight. So it's a good sign that she's not embarrassed by any of this. So I don't think it's a fluke. Is she going to win, 10 Grand Slam titles? It's impossible to say. But will she be a contender for everything coming now? There's no reason to believe she can't do that.
Marion Bartoli, she literally went from qualies to the belle of the ball, literally and figuratively. Belle of the ball at the US Open and then the Met Gala. Which is more likely, that we see that post-2018 US Open Naomi Osaka kind of a run, or that this really was a one-off?
You just don't win the US Open without opening a set, just being a one-off. That just doesn't happen. You can't be lucky 10 matches in a row if you don't have the level and if you're not part of the top of the game. And she's absolutely part of the game. But I think, as you said, Carole, she feels that way at ease because I think she has prepared herself for that for so long. And even though she maybe doesn't say it, but I think she's extremely ambitious, and I think she wants to be right at the top of the pyramid. She wants to be in the cover of the magazine. She wants to be the one that everyone knows her name, and she has prepared herself for that, because otherwise it's just a flood of media coming at you. And if you're not prepared for it, you sort of really starting to collapse and go back into her shell. And for me, it seems like she even enjoyed more that part than, just being on the court itself. So that means she has prepared herself to become number one in the world and everything, of course, and the fame that comes with it. But, technically she's very sound. She moves so well on the court. And I think a lot of players felt, I'm just quoting, for example, Marion Bartoli that says, I didn't play my match, but you feel that way when you feel you have not really one place to play on the court to hit a winner. She's running everywhere. It seems like she reads the game very well and she's very fast on the court. She reminds me a little bit about Leylah, the way she's playing, that you feel when you play against her, it's all coming back very fast, good pace, with depths, and you feel like you have to hit 20 winners in order to win a point. And that's probably why you're overeating and then committing way too much in forced errors. And when I look at her matches, it's pretty much what has been the case. When she has a short ball, she comes in and she goes for a winner, and everything else, she just defends with good depth and good positioning. And for me, that is very hard to beat on the woman's side right now because she doesn't beat herself. Simply as that. And it was the same for Leylah Fernandez. When you look into her game and she just got that new physical coach into her camp, who obviously was preparing before Dominic team, and probably she used the fact that Dominic is out of the tour for a bit to get Douglas on her camp, and you could see straight away the difference in the fitness level. She was moving so much better than before, and it was hard to hit a winner out of her. And then all of a sudden she started to win all of the matches because of that. But for Emma Radacanu, it seems to be a lot more natural. She probably doesn't have to work that much on her fitness, so everything is very natural. So I don't see why she would collapse. Only the pressure, but I think she's ready for that. I don't think she wants to stop on one Grand Slam. I think it's just one stop over the whole career she wants to achieve. And as she said herself, her parents has been always putting high standard on her and high expectation, and that's how you bring champion as well. So for me, she's very well grounded, and she will be really one of the top champion of the game.
Well, Billie Jean said pressure is a privilege, but it also makes you a target. Simon, she was off of everyone's radar, under, in fact, the radar. So which is more likely, that we see that kind of Osaka post-2018 U.S. Open run where she's in finals and winning Grand Slams, or where it's one of those lightning in a bottle, one-off championship type of moments? Which is more likely?
I don't think it's a fluke, because this is. I think you look back to Wimbledon where we first saw her. She got to the fourth round. Nobody knew anything about her. The way she was playing was great. She had that moment where she had a panic attack or everything got too overwhelming for her. But look how she responded to it. That's absolutely amazing. To then go from that, where people were questioning whether she really had what it took to make it at the top level at all, to winning a Grand Slam in the space of 2 months. I think it's very good for her that the next Grand Slam is in Australia, a nice long way from home. So, yes, there will be plenty of British interest. There'll be lots of people trying to travel there to watch her, lots of video, film crews, etc. But it's not Wimbledon. She doesn't have to deal with the sort of day-to-day incredible attention that she will get when it comes to Wimbledon. So I think she'll have a little bit of a honeymoon period in that sense. There's a lot of important things to be done in terms of her team need to keep her grounded. I don't think that'll be an issue because she seems like she's just a really smart girl who knows what she wants and knows how to do it. During the US Open, I think she made the point that she just pretty much turned her phone off. Now, how many 18-year-olds do that? That is really encouraging. I hope she keeps doing that as she goes on, because that will help her. As everyone says, her game is really solid. There doesn't seem to be any obvious weakness. Her serve is good. She could move forward more. There are things to improve, and that's just really exciting. I think the way the women's game is at the moment, with all these new players coming through, there's an opportunity for somebody like Radacanu to, not necessarily to win the next 2 or 3 Grand Slams, but to really sort of start to make a real move at the top, because she's already ranked 23. She's going to go higher than that very quickly. She has the opportunity with Serena, who's 40, Azarenka moving out of the game probably in the next couple of years. Someone like Petra Kvitova maybe coming to the end. There's a lot of movement in the women's game, and I think people like Radacanu and Fernandez are going to have a big opportunity. So I don't see her suddenly going into her shell or collapsing at all. I think she loves it. Look at, if anyone saw the interview she did with CNBC at the New York Stock Exchange, that was fantastic. She loved being there.
No, thank you so much for having me. I am on cloud nine, but so excited to be here on New York Stock Exchange.
You know, she's got an inquisitive mind. She enjoys everything that goes with it. I think Marion's right. She's very ambitious. I think she is going to go a long, long way. And if she probably has no idea yet what the attention has been like in Britain, but I can tell you it's been nuts. She has been front and centre of every TV and news radio programme for the last 3 days. People have been sending messages during football programmes, Match of the Day, the highlights show on Saturday of the Premier League. During that, Gary Lineker, who used to be England captain, he was sending a message saying, I've never tweeted during a live show before, but this Radacanu is unbelievable. You know, everybody is loving what she's done. And I think feel a genuine joy and warmth to her. She has such a charisma about her. She's going to be a superstar.
All right, let's stay in the comparison here with Naomi Osaka and Radacanu, but let's bring in Leylah Fernandez, the other unbelievable underdog story. Such a stark contrast in narrative and in vibe between the pure joy of the finalists in Leylah Fernandez and Emma Radacanu versus what we've been dealing with and seeing that she is dealing with openly, the depression, the anxiety, and the uncertainty of Naomi Osaka. Simon and Carole, I know you both wanted to speak on this in this obvious, very palpable narrative differential in the contrast therein. So please feel free to do so. And Carole, why don't you go first on that contrast that we experienced this past U.S. Open?
I think first of all, not everybody is equal. Regarding mental health and depression, you don't choose to be depressed or not. But I want to hope that Naomi has been watching this, and maybe it can help her in reminding her what it feels when you start. And when you win, and the joy to just go out there and play your tennis and not thinking about, I don't know what's going through your mind. Is it the pressure, the expectations coming from outside? Is it all those brand deals? And just being out there on that court and playing tennis to win a match. I hope she has been watching this, because we were all in this narrative saying, oh, tennis is so hard on the players' minds. They can't cope with those pressure, with the pressure. Media are going too hard on those kids. They can't deal. We're spoiling them. And you get Fernandez and Raducanu coming, all lights out, big eyes, so happy just to be out there, enjoying the moment, not thinking about the backstage, the business or whatever, just winning the match and beating those players. And it's so refreshing. And I hope somehow it's going to, because the contrast is massive between them and Naomi being like, I need a break because I have no joy being out there. And you're like, but why? And again, nobody is equal in how they deal with the pressure and the background of mental health, but it's such a contrast. So I hope maybe it's also a good news for Osaka that she's seeing those kids and be like, that's where I was, like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. That was me. I was just happy to be out there. Tennis is simple. If you make it simple, if the entourage around you is making it simple, because Raducanu and Fernandez, we see teams that are keeping them grounded in a bubble, not talking about making them a brand already. So it can be easy, it can be joyful, and it's good for players coming up, young kids coming up, seeing like, okay, you can be happy on the tour, but wait, because it's their first year. We want to see Fernandez and Raducanu in 2 years, 3 years, and if they still have the same joy, but just seeing them out there for me, actually, on Ash, enjoying the pressure, enjoying the big stage, it's momentous, I think, also for the top players of today, like even those like, I don't know, as I rank out somebody like Andreescu, because Bianca Andreescu was this player like a year ago, 2 years ago. It's good for them to see that that's what tennis is. It's just being out there and doing your best, and that's it.
Simon, there's a difference between taunting and celebrating. Some players say, let's go, and some people say, what, when they win a point. We watched Leylah Fernandez celebrate every point she won, taking her hand, thrusting it into the air with a fist. And then with the crowd with 2 hands, she was enjoying playing and winning those points. She was celebrating each of which made that New York crowd absolutely fall in love with her, and nothing different on the Radacanu side. So I know you want to speak on the contrast between Osaka and what she's been dealing with. And really what we saw was a demonstration of 2 young ladies who combined ages add up to 37, just the joy and love of not just playing the game, but winning each point individually. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's not so much a sort of comparing the way they were with the way that Naomi is. It's not, the two things are not the same. It's more a juxtaposition. You see Radacanu and Fernandez with such joy, playing with such freedom at 18, and as Carole said, you think to yourself, wow, wouldn't it be this is just so lovely to see. It's great to watch. It's amazing tennis. I mean, the standard of that final was insane, by the way, before we forget about that. But just in general, the demeanour they had, how much they were loving it. I love the fact that Fernandez was furious at losing. She's obviously an incredible competitor, but the genuine joy they were getting is something that is clearly missing from Naomi Osaka's life right now. She's not enjoying her tennis. We know that. I want to go back to, I don't know how many people saw the video that she did with her agent, with Mardy Fish, with Nick Kyrgios, and with Billie Jean King.
I don't think I really had a choice, to be honest with you.
Yes, you do. You don't ever have to hit another ball the rest of your life. Or
No,
not.
I'm saying in regards to the French Open.
Well, it was fascinating. I mean, really fascinating. The important thing for Osaka is to get well, obviously, going forward. But she has got some strange ideas right now of what life is like in the tennis world, in the terms of the relationship between tennis player and media. She said that she feels, Billie Jean King asked her flat out, and she said she actually feels it's a privilege sometimes for journalists to talk to her in a press conference. It's a remarkable sense of entitlement. It seems to me like she's sort of forgotten, that she's part of a bigger picture. It's not just about her. And her agent is doing not a very good job in keeping her grounded, because he's there saying, well, the media cost her a Grand Slam in terms of playing at Wimbledon. Not at all. As Billie Jean King said, the important thing for you is you do what you like and you love doing. If you don't want to play, if you don't feel ready to play, don't play. You have that choice. So I just wanted to make that point about that video because I thought it was fascinating. But obviously, she needs to get well. The thing I think might actually help is perhaps there's a little bit less attention on her over the next couple of months. Everyone will want to talk to Emma Radacanu. A lot of people will want to talk to Leylah Fernandez. Of course, there's always going to be huge interest in Osaka. But she said something else in that video which was a big surprise to me. She said that after she won the US Open in 2018, she was made out to be, or the media portrayed her as the good girl. She had to be the good girl. And I don't remember any of that. Maybe I'm sort of losing my mind, but that doesn't seem to be what was happening at all. So there's something strange going on about how she sees the way she is portrayed in the media. She needs to forget about all that. As Carole said, simplify it. Get out on court, do what you love doing, if it is what you love doing. If you love to play tennis, just play tennis. You've got a great coach in Wim Fissette. Just enjoy it. You've got a fantastic game. You're a brilliant player. Get out there and do it. And if you just look at Emma Radacanu and Leylah Fernandez, and maybe that'll give you a reminder of what made you start playing tennis in the first place.
First of all, it's one thing to come out and play when you have absolutely nothing to lose. And it's not like you're even expecting yourself to beat those players. I don't think for Leylah Fernandez, she expected to beat Naomi Osaka, Angelique Kerber, Arina Zabalenka, and all the players she beat. And I think she felt like, she's the massive underdog and she's going to try out her best. And it happens that she was able to put on a good show, a great performance, and she won the match. It's another thing when you have 4 Grand Slam, $55 million endorsement a year, and you have to prove and sort of, feels like you deserve that every single time you're playing a tennis match. It's a total different way to approach a tennis match. And as much as it's easy when we're sitting down here to say, oh, just play tennis like you were when you were 16 or 17 being innocent, it's impossible to be that way again for Naomi. It's literally impossible. When you represent so much, when you're the face of so many brands and very, very prestigious brands, of course, you feel like every time you're stepping on the courts, the only thing that's going to make you happy is to win. And not even happy, as she said, it was more relief when she's winning because she feels like she doesn't sort of putting down someone and letting someone down or letting a brand down when she's not winning. And, when she came at the US Open, she had to open those courts that was down one of the endorsement branches having that put down some new courts from some kids in Queens where she grew up, and she was playing herself. I mean, she has so much responsibility that I don't think Emma was having, or Leylah was having, those kind of responsibility coming out into the US Open. They were just normal players coming out trying to win a match. And this is why for me it's going to be fascinating to see if they keeps on winning, and they're going to have so much more endorsements, so much more brands sort of, feels like you're owning them something. If they're going to play the same way, if they're going to behave the same way on the court, if they will still have that same joy. Because when you have that sense of, you're part of a big circus, and you have to deliver to that circus, and you have to deliver performance, because people are paying you to win. They're not paying you to lose first round or second round or third round. They are paying you because you win Grand Slams. So all of a sudden you feel like you don't play only for yourself. You're playing for everyone that sort of give you that money to be on that court and play tennis. So for me, it's really going to be fascinating to see the evolution of those two girls, because as you say, Carole, right now they're fragile like a daisy. They come out court, they don't feel the pressure. They just feel they're tennis players and they have just to play a tennis match. For me, the way Maria Sharapova dealt with it for 2 decades, the way Serena Williams has been dealing with it, it's extraordinary, because human beings, it's so difficult, when you feel you just don't play for yourself, but you play for so many other people.
So the difference, if I may, is that Naomi is really an introvert. It's really somebody who, I don't think that naturally she's searching for the lights. Fernandez and Raducanu, they seem complete extroverts to me. So it makes also a difference in the way you're coping with pressure. But it's funny that Marion is talking about Sharapova, because I was thinking about Maria the whole time, seeing Raducanu like this. I mean, there's something to be learned about the way Maria and Serena have dealt with the endorsements, taking many endorsements, but not too much. Knowing when to say, no, I'm not doing this, and also how to be a girl boss. And I think maybe Osaka could go and have a chat with Maria, because I think she was looking up to her when she was growing up, and how to be a businesswoman, but to be in charge of what you're doing, to be in charge of your destiny in a way, saying no to a photo shoot if you don't have a set. Maria has really dealt with it in a way like, I'm not going to be this pretty thing everybody is doing a photo shoot about and having no say about anything. She's really dominating what's happening around her. And I think Naomi is maybe feeling she's losing the control over what's going on around her, because she's not in power. And I really think there's a lot of things to learn with Maria Sharapova, and maybe they should talk. Just being a girl boss is not natural for everybody. And if it's not for you, I've said that again, but if it's not for you, don't do it. There's no obligation. Ash Barty is not a girl boss. She doesn't have a brand. She doesn't care. She's playing tennis. But I think Naomi wants to be in front of the camera to help people. She wants to bring awareness on so many things. Maybe she needs to find the right way to do that. Maybe she's in a war with media for some unknown reasons that are maybe coming from around her and not even, reality. But really, her being an introvert, I think, is changing the whole landscape of what's happening right now.
Panel, Marion Bartoli, Carole Bouchard, Simon Cambers, thank you guys. As always, everyone, make sure you subscribe on all social media platforms, interact, engage, and thank you for watching. We will catch you next time for more match points right here on tennismajors.com.